Putting it simply, what the TSA is doing with the power of the federal government behind it is violating everyone's natural and constitutional rights. And yet we're allowing it to happen. But here's an idea that harkens back to the days before 9/11. Let the free market take over. Wouldn't the private sector do a better job of manning and securing our airports and protecting their own property? Peter Schiff says yes. He's the president of Euro Pacific Capital and host of his own daily radio show streaming live on schiffradio.com. Peter, it's a pleasure. Welcome back. Tell me how it would work if the airlines gave you a choice, if the airlines protected private property, and if the same government that can't deliver the mail had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly airlines care a lot more about passenger safety than the government. After all, it's their reputation that's on the line. You know, I'm a frequent flyer myself, and the most important thing to me in an airline is safety. And if I think an airline is cutting corners on maintenance or security, I mean, I'm not going to want to fly it. No one's going to want to fly it. In fact, no one's going to want to work there. How are you going to get flight attendants and pilots to fly planes if they don't believe that the airline is taking safety seriously? So I want the airlines to protect their reputation, to protect their brand, and they'll do it in a way that, you know, is a lot more efficient than the way the government does. And of course, if a plane crashes on the government's watch, it doesn't really bother them. You know, I mean, sure, people die, but they're not going to lose their jobs. They're not going to lose their reputation. And, you know, the private sector doesn't have all these constitutional constraints that the government has. And, you know, we need something like profiling to make this thing efficient. You know, when I go on an airplane, it doesn't bother me that I have to take my shoes off, put my laptop in a tray and go through the screening. What bothers me is waiting online a half an hour to do it. And so if they didn't have to screen everybody because they were smarter about what they did, even if I was one of the people that was profiled, it wouldn't bother me because I would zip right through the process because there wouldn't be all these other people that were also being scrutinized to the same degree.
Let me throw this one at you. How about the airlines giving us a choice? If you want to be a slave, if you want body cavity searches, if you want to fly in the most absolute, guaranteed, secure environment you can, then buy ticket A and go on airline A. But if you want to be treated with personal dignity, if you want to have a conversation with an airline attendant who will look at you and make a mature judgment about you before deciding that he has to touch your body, then buy ticket B for airline B.
Well, absolutely. And people can choose the level of security they want, the way they choose what kind of meals are the planes going to serve, or how much legroom do they have. I mean, people can make choices as to what they want. And also, you know, the way they treat you. If you have private sector employees, they're going to treat you with a lot more respect because, you know, you can complain, they can get fired. When you have these government workers coming in there, they don't treat you with any respect. Oh, they know they can say whatever they want. They're never going to get fired. You know, so, you know, it's like you always get much better service when you go to Federal Express than when you go to the post office.
Well, that goes without saying. Peter, before we go, I want to prevail upon your expertise. The past 2 weeks, Ben Bernanke, with whom you are a public and notorious combatant, and rightly so, has announced that the Federal Reserve is going to flood the market with $600 billion. What will that do to the value of my house, the value of my car, and the value of the money I have in my savings account?
Well, it's going to diminish the value of your savings, number one. I mean, it creates inflation, so it makes every American poorer. It means our wages have less purchasing power, our savings have less value. I do think that the result of all this money printing might be that the nominal value of your house might rise relative to where it otherwise would have been. But in real terms, in real wealth, it's going to be diminished because creating inflation undermines our economy, undermines the credibility of our currency, discourages savings and investment, and is going to ruin this economy. And what it really amounts to is government default. The government is saying we can't pay our bills legitimately, so we're going to print money. We're going to monetize this debt. We're going to call it quantitative easing because it sounds better. But what it is old-fashioned monetization, Argentinian style. That's what we're doing.
Got it. Peter Schiff, thanks for joining us.